Now, from Wish TV, your local news source, this is All Indiana Politics.
A prominent conservative influencer gunned down in front of thousands of students. Now concerns are growing over political violence in America. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to All Indiana Politics. I'm Phil Sanchez. A sniper shot and killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk during an event at Utah Valley University. A suspect is now in custody. Tyler Robinson is a 22-year-old from Utah. Investigators say Robinson's family told them he had expressed opposition to Kirk and had become more political before the shooting. Investigators say they found several political engravings on the shell casings. They say they believe the shooter acted alone. Utah Governor Spencer Cox called Kirk's assassination an attack on the American experiment and on free speech.
Having his life taken in that very act makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much.
A Hamilton County man who once worked with Charlie Kirk says Kirk changed what it means to be a young conservative. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist talked to Jack Hudson about Kirk's impact.
We do podcast production, direct-to-camera teleprompter work for a variety of political, corporate, nonprofit clients.
Hudson is active with the Hamilton County Young Republicans. He says being a conservative on a college campus isn't easy.
I was worried about being judged by a professor, by peers, being asked questions, maybe being protested at or put on some sort of list.
He says that changed when he discovered Kirk on social media.
And Charlie Kirk let me know that one day when my kids go off to college, maybe that divide won't be there. Hopefully people are more willing to talk once again.
Hudson says Kirk's mastery of social media is what endeared him to so many young Republicans.
It's where young people are online. It's why the youth vote turned out in record number. It's why Republicans won the youth vote bigger than they ever have.
Hudson met Kirk at the end of June. He helped take video of an event for a political candidate in which Kirk took part.
I think you see Charlie Kirk online, and one, he seems very approachable because he's willing to talk to anybody. But on the other hand, you don't realize just how powerful the organization he's built is.
Hudson says one of the things he admired most about Kirk was his willingness to engage with and debate those who disagreed with him. He says Kirk was a true advocate for dialogue. Hudson and his team were working when they learned Kirk had been killed.
And then when we heard the news that he had died, I think we all collectively quit working for the day, went home and spent time with our families and realized that, is it safe to be in the line of work we're in? What can we do to make sure things like this don't happen in the future?
Hudson says young Republicans now have to get more engaged than ever.
It's our turn as young Republicans, as young conservatives, to move the conversation forward with dialogue and the best ideas, not violence and silencing the other side.
Hudson says now is the time to talk to people who don't share your political views with the goal of understanding why they hold the views they do. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Well, for more on this, let's turn now to two members of Indiana's best political team, Republican Mario Masalamani and Democrat Lindsey Haight. Good to see you both. Mario, I'll start with you. Expand upon the conversation that we just saw in that piece there. What did Charlie Kirk mean to young conservatives, especially here in central Indiana?
It was amazing how he was able to connect with young people, high school, college age individuals, unlike any other Republican or conservative was able to do. He had such an impact in 2024 with President Trump in his race. I was actually shocked and amazed at how many young people came out and turned out for President Trump because of what they were hearing from Charlie Kirk, because he had no fear in going to college campuses and debating people.
Right.
And I mean, that's the thing. You know, our country was founded on free speech and allowing both sides or any side an opportunity to express their views. And that's what's sad here today is, you know, we're turning into a third world country. Where we're assassinating or killing people that disagree with our point of view. And, you know, if we as a country want to do better, then we as elected officials and people in the having the ability to talk and convey and influence people, we need to say we need to tone down the rhetoric, and we need to act better, and we need to allow the other side to speak. And even if you don't appreciate them and you don't agree with them, they have every right to speak.
Yeah. Lindsay, it seems like that's easier said than done these days. Are we getting to the point where we can't have these conversations?
I think so. You know, it's Mario and I, we work together in daily business. And so, you know, when we would see each other at the State House, we come at this from a point of commonality. Oh, here, what are you here for? You know, we're just doing the business. Trying
friends.
To, yeah,
still friends.
Trying to make your, you know, your daily lives happen. And it's such tragedy when something like this happens, and across American televisions that we watched live, some of us.
Yep.
And it was just startling to see not another generation of students watching this happen in front of them as well. It's so crushing. Yeah. And Governor Cox is right when he says this is an attack on the American experiment.
Yeah. This one for the both of you. Are we getting to the point where maybe something like this will help tamp down the rhetoric, or will it make it worse? Lindsay.
I hope it helps it. I hope there is a path forward that can at least serve as a reminder to all of us working in politics, all of us who are privileged to have a microphone in front of us and speak on these issues, whether the cameras are on or not. It's upon each of us to make sure that our rhetoric is properly placed and our criticism is properly pointed.
Mario.
I unfortunately think it's going to get worse. I think it's we're entering a dark phase in American politics. And you know, I got calls from my ex-wife and my kids basically saying, because 3 years ago I had received you know, threats of harm to myself, and they were saying, why do you do it? You know, and I see some Republicans enraged, and I see some Democrats or liberals celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I think that both sides need to understand that this was a man that was 31 years old, that had 2 kids and a loving wife. You know, and we as Republicans and as Democrats, when we come up here and we talk to people and convey our opinion, you know, it's our opinion, and it's again, words. Right? You know, if you don't like it, turn us off. If you know, agree with us, great. But if you disagree with us, that doesn't mean you have to hate us.
Yeah. Yeah, these are conversations that we have here really every single week, and we're able to have them and still be friends. So
right.
I mean, there's times when you just got to swipe left and keep moving.
Yep.
Right.
Keep moving. I appreciate you both for being here. Much more to come here on the show. Thank you very much. Coming up, a Northwest Indiana congressman tells us why he's not letting talks of redistricting distract him from his job. Welcome back. Congressman Frank Mrvan's Northwest Indiana district is by far the most competitive in Indiana. He's one of 2 Democrats representing our state in Congress. In his first ever interview with All Indiana Politics, he tells our Garrett Bergquist there's no reason to redraw his district, but he's not letting the redistricting talk get to him.
And joining us now is Congressman Frank Mrvan from Indiana's 1st Congressional District. Congressman, welcome to All Indiana Politics.
Thank you, Garrett. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Now, before we get into other topics, I do first want to get your reaction to the murder of Charlie Kirk at a Turning Point USA event in Utah. Are you concerned that this is part of a growing trend of political violence in this country?
Well, I am concerned. One, I want to make sure that my condolences go out to his wife, Erica, and to his family. And of course, there's been an escalation in violence, and we need to make sure that as a country, we find ways to unite and to come together. Today is also the memorial of 9/11, and that brought our country together. And we were able to overcome all divisions and obstacles to understand that we're all Americans. And I think that in that vein, that we need to move in that direction.
All 7 of your Republican counterparts in Indiana's delegation have publicly called for congressional districts to be redrawn. What was your reaction when you saw them release all of those statements over the course of a few hours? Have you talked to them about that?
I haven't talked to them about that, but I've made sure I reached out, shook their hands, and continued business as usual. I think a great example of that is Congresswoman Houchin has a bill which is called the Field Act. Our farmers need relief right now. Our farmers need accessible internet and accessible wireless to be able to do their job. I have talked to Mark Messner, who I think is a gentleman, and I have talked to Rudy Yakum about the utility rates in Northwest Indiana. We had that conversation on the floor yesterday. And what we can do together with Mayor Dermody out of LaPorte to be able to do everything we can from the federal, state, and city level to reduce the skyrocketing utility rates. So they're towing the political line. I understand the fear theory of what comes out of the White House, but I will not allow that to change me or change the relationships that I work with every day.
Republicans claim population shifts since 2020 justify redrawing the maps, and they also claim counting people who are in the country illegally skewed the maps. Now, I should point out the census does count people regardless of immigration status, but what few studies there are show that there's not a whole lot of impact from that. Do post-2020 population shifts justify redrawing the maps?
We're mid-decade. I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think anything justifies them. I think that the state legislature was very proud of the maps that they drew. And so I don't know, we're in a day and age that you have to ask the question, what can't you justify? So 5 years ago, they were great maps. They received the letter grade A. I believe that moderate Republicans are very proud of those maps. And I think that the public overwhelmingly is saying this isn't something that we need to do. And so as we were talking about how we bring the country together, I'm a firm believer that if you have all red states and all blue states, you're going to expand or you're going to accelerate extremism. You're not going to have people reaching across the aisle or finding middle ground for issues.
The Cook Political Report currently lists your district as D+1. How concerned are you about being drawn into a heavily Republican district if this goes forward? I'm
just moving forward, and like I said, I'm not letting it change me. All these decisions are going to be made in Indianapolis. I have a high confidence level that the moderate Hoosier values are going to overcome the pressure that's going to be coming from outside sources. And you know what? I'm going to continue to do what I can to make sure that we are an operating government, that my district has the resources to be able to create jobs, that my unions are be able to have good benefits, and that they have project labor agreements, and that they're able to collectively bargain. Those are the things that are important to me.
I want to turn to trade policy. As you mentioned earlier, your district includes the Gary Works. Last month, you sent a letter to the Trump administration asking them to clarify the veto power that the U.S. government will have over certain business operations with Nippon Steel, and that's coming from their merger with U.S. Steel. Have you received any reply to that letter?
We have not received a reply, but we will stay on it. It was a multi-level or a number of different members who joined me on that letter. Keep in mind, I am co-chair of the Steel Caucus, which is a bipartisan caucus. Chairman Crawford out of Alabama is someone that I work in a bipartisan way. Our goal, as I mentioned earlier, is because of the steel industry in Northwest Indiana being an economic engine, not only for steel workers, but all the ancillary trade men and women who do the maintenance and do all the work. So electricians, carpenters, iron workers, all carpenters, operating engineers, all those unions and trade men and women are dependent upon the steel trade. So we want in writing to know exactly, tell us or ensure to us that these investments are going to happen in Northwest Indiana. Ensure us that our men and women are going to continue to work and thrive. And decades down the line, we will continue to lead the nation, which I believe is a national security issue in the production of steel.
All right, coming up, Indiana's Best Political Team talks the latest redistricting developments and the continuing controversy over an Indianapolis data center when we return. All right, welcome back to All Indiana Politics. Joining us once again, of course, two members of Indiana's Best Political Team, Mario Masalamany and Democrat Lindsey Haig. Let's turn to that redistricting conversation we just heard. So there have been caucuses about this, both Senate Republicans and Democrats talking about this. Now, just a couple of weeks ago when we spoke, Mario, and I'll start with you, it seemed like everyone was against it. Now things have changed. What happened?
I think with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think it's going to happen. I think it's almost a done deal because the Republican base, conservative base is fired up, and I don't think that the Senate and the House want to go against their base. Before, I think that they could have said there was no need to do it. We can wait till, every 10 years. But I think that if and when Mike Braun calls a special session, it's going to happen, because these legislators are not going to be wanting to have their vote on the record against this redistricting.
Lindsay?
Yeah, you've got there are a lot of opinions on this, even amongst Republicans too. Not everybody is locked up on being ready to go on this.
Right.
And I think in the State House chit chat, even we all kind of wait for the end of the week to see what the next week will bring. I think everybody is pretty much locked in on believing that a special session will occur. We just don't know when. So we're all prepping for it, and we're ready to go.
Prepping, you mean by a lawsuit possibly, or do you foresee that happening?
Obviously, I wouldn't be party to that litigation, but yes, that has been chatted about regarding any redistricting, only because the rumor is, of course, that we're going to crack and pack some districts that would violate HAVA or would violate the Voting Rights Act. Yeah. So, we've got a long conversation yet to go here, and obviously litigation takes a while, as my friend Mario knows, but we'll see what happens, and I'm really not convinced yet that all GOP is on board with moving forward with redistricting.
I will tell you this, if we do have a special session, I have heard that there might be some talk of rediscussing Senate Bill 1.
Yeah.
And if Senate Bill 1 is discussed and addressed, I think that will be helpful for Hoosiers in general, and also for local municipalities and schools, because this bill has been horrendous for local government. And I think anyone on both sides would agree with that.
There's no disagreement there. SEA 1 and the impacts that because folks are budgeting right now at the local level. Right. And so they see all of these, frankly, deficits they have to keep up with because of this bill.
Something we've been on top of and we'll continue to follow. I want to turn our attention now to the debate over that data center in Franklin Township. Now, as you both know, the Indianapolis City County Council has called its own public hearing. Lindsay, is this data center project dead on arrival, in your opinion?
No, it's not dead on arrival. This vote coming up on the 22nd, next Monday, not this coming Monday, but next Monday, the 22nd, is absolutely not a formality, and everyone is treating it with the importance that it has. That said, folks down in Franklin Township are really, really concerned that this might actually happen and that they might be neighbors with a water-sucking, energy-sucking data center that is not going to produce any jobs for Indianapolis, and they're concerned.
Data centers are coming, Mario, whether you like it or not. So is Indianapolis at risk of maybe losing out here? And will there be maybe other communities that jump in and say, hey, come our way? Well,
they can. But, as we saw from the LEAP district, water is a big issue in Indiana.
Yeah.
And that is something that, some of our local government is not taking into consideration. And these data centers take up a lot of water and a lot of electricity. And so we need to make sure that this data center does not impact in a negative way, not only the people in Franklin Township, but also in the surrounding communities. Because you look at the LEAP district, they're bringing in water from other communities, which are now impacting those communities.
I mean, you saw a moratorium passed just this last week up in Tippecanoe County about, a moratorium on water withdrawals.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Before we let you go, we have about a minute left. Your neck of the woods, Hamilton County, we've been talking about it all week long here on the news. Last couple of weeks, I should say, the possibility of voting centers. You're smiling. You have some strong takes on this one, Mario. Go ahead.
I am a small candidate type of person that loves the grassroots impact of running for office and having these vote centers. When you're a local candidate running for office, one of the best ways that you can get your message out is by standing at precincts and having your volunteers standing at precincts in your district. Now, with these vote centers, these people in your precinct can vote anywhere in the county, which means that now, as a small candidate for a local office, you don't have the money or the resources to get your message out to these people. And so you're losing a method of trying to engage with voters.
Lindsay, quickly,
I know we
30
don't
seconds.
have much time on this, but it's cheaper for counties to implement vote centers, and it allows folks to vote more easily. Okay. And that's what we need to remember in this conversation.
All right. Well, all eyes on Hamilton County on this one. Good to see you both. Very good conversation after a rough week. Thank you very much. Much more to come. Stick with us. We will be right back. All right, thank you for joining us for All Indiana Politics this week. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30. You can also find our full interview with Congressman Frank Mrvan on the All Indiana Politics podcast. It's online at wishtv.com. Have a great rest of your weekend.